you have chosen something that's from Genesis, all of you. The only thing there is the only just in case, most likely it might be one or two verses that you might miss or whatever, or you might have taken it correctly. So that's fine. You can start working on that one. I'm just going to anyway. The instruction is very clear. Just work on that one. Um, I have some issues with my time here. All right, so it means if I look at everyone's email here, it will really and then go to the passage. That would really consume a lot of time for me. Now, these last 4 days is really so hectic for me. So, pardon me for that one, but I assume that you have already, in a sense, taken the instructions so well. And but anyway, I promise that before this day is over, you're going to receive the comment on that one. Okay, before this day is over, which is my time here is 8:30. Yours is 6:23, right? So, oh, okay. Is that okay, Arjun?
Yes, sure, sir.
Okay, good. Let's go.
In fact, I have chosen from the book of Ruth, so hope that's okay, right?
Oh, I replied to that one already.
I don't think that was me.
Ah, Ruth. It's not you. So that's Anita, I guess, or Susmita.
Yeah, maybe some other friends also have chosen from that, maybe couple of.
I'm wondering, maybe some of you have worked on that preaching one.
Yeah, that one not in preaching one. In Hebrew too, we did from the perspective of Hebrew language. So
That's the reason why you're. I said something is almost. I don't know, one or two or three are doing the Book of Ruth. Okay, now I realize, yeah, some of you have done that one. So most likely, if you have done that one, then you have the theological idea, and most likely some of you have already done the exegesis of that one, right?
just the outline, because we did from the perspective of this Hebrew language, exercising the Hebrew language. So not exactly on the uh,
Exegesis.
yeah, not in detail.
Okay. In some school they use Jonah. Did you do Jonah also?
No.
Okay. Anyway, okay, that's fine. I'm again before this day is over, you're going to, as long as you have submitted, huh? You send it to Jaron. I think that was Tuesday. I know that I have done all of those all of those emails. I have looked at that, but after 6 a.m. that Tuesday, I have to do a lot of things. Again. Anyway, the homiletical idea. Let's go here. Are you seeing this one?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The homiletical idea for narratives. Now, when we say homiletical idea, what comes into your mind? Homiletics. Okay? Homiletics is what? The art of delivering the message. Exegetical idea gives us the idea from your exegesis. What is exegesis? You are bringing out the meaning of the passage. You are looking at the author's intended meaning. And so you have this exegesis resulting to exegetical idea. Now, the homiletical idea is formed from the theological idea statement. The theological idea is drawn from the theological meaning of the story. That means what is the significance of the story based from the author's intended meaning. Now, it is not merely a summary of the action, but a reflection of the author's intended purpose and meaning of the narrative text, framed as a timeless truth. Now, the homiletical idea principalizes the TI for the, look at the highlighted word, the red letter font word, contemporary audience. Right? The theological idea is from the biblical word. You still remember what we have discussed before? The theological idea is the result of your exegesis based from the understanding of the biblical world, their time. Like, for example, excuse me, Abraham received the promised blessing of God because he had faith in God and obeyed his command. That means he feared God. Now, in the theological idea, you still mention the biblical word like Abraham, like, yeah, that's the character that is involved there. And almost, you see, everything was taken from the passage. Now, homiletical idea is for your preaching in today's setting, today's world. Now, look at the example here. The one who fears God, that is, faithful worshiper, will obediently surrender to God whatever he asks, trusting in his promises of provision and blessing. What did you notice here? What did you notice here?
Abraham is replaced by the current audience or
Okay.
ourselves.
Abraham is no longer mentioned here. It is the one who fears God, because this is today's world. But the homiletical idea is kind of long, right? Uh, Remember, I shared to you about this, the content, the larger context, and then all these things. We talk about this already. Where do you get the main idea, the theological idea? You look at the content, the larger content, look at the repetition, you take note of the author's statement or narrator's statement. Yeah. Okay. All of these details are important to observe and understand. But of primary importance are those that function to highlight the theological meaning of the narrative. Again, what do we mean by the theological narrative? Okay, what do we mean by this? The author's intended meaning and the passage significance. We are always going back to what the author is trying to tell to his original reader. We then need to be aware of allusions. What is this? Suggestion or hints to broader biblical theology. But beware, okay, beware preaching allegorical extrapolation. That means allegorical, you add meaning. When we say allegorical, the statement, the passage is not actually telling it, but you are now adding and giving another meaning or adding meaning to what you have just read. Okay, so be careful on that. Be true to the passage. Simply tell what you have discovered from the passage without you giving your own meaning to the passage. Uh, for example of allegorical. You remember Jesus? When he went to see Lazarus, Lazarus was already what? 4 days dead. Are you still there? You get that? Okay, Lazarus was already 4 days dead. And so he came and he said to the people, remove the stone. And the people said there, oh, it's already 4 days. He's already stinking. But Jesus said, remove the stone. So they removed the stone. They rolled the stone. And Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth. And Lazarus came out. And then here comes the allegorical. You know, my dear brethren, The reason why people are not seeing the resurrected life, because we still have the stones covering us. What are the stones that covering us? Stones of unbelief, stone of not obeying, stone. And then he mentioned a lot of stones and a lot of stones and a lot of stones. That's allegorical. Now you give meaning to the stone. That's not the main idea there. The main idea is that Jesus is the resurrection. He who believes, who said this one? It's Jesus saying that one. Did you get the idea of allegorical? And there's a lot of preachers who's doing
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
There's a lot of preachers who's doing that. You know, they give meaning, extra meaning. So be careful on that. Okay? Now, any question on that about the meaning? So the homiletical idea from Abraham's time, now we go to the universal principle applied to the audience. It is worded in what? Contemporary, present tense, and applicational terms. No longer Abraham, but one or Christians. Now, from exegetical idea to homiletical idea, now we go to the preaching idea. Preaching idea should be, now if you have attended the preaching one, you know what I'm talking about, right? Right? Preaching one students, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So it must be, you just use the acronym FOCUS. Felt, needed, obvious, concise, unusual, and scriptural. Okay? Felt needed, that means the one who's listening to you will feel the importance of it, and he will say, I need that one. I will listen to this person. Obvious, that means it's easy to remember, and that's concise also. Obvious in a sense, you don't need a dictionary to look for the meaning. Okay, don't use high-sounding words. You know, the word, like you scrutinize. Now, sometimes it's too difficult that it will take someone to go to his Google and find the meaning of that one. What is he saying here? Okay, concise, that means your preaching idea must be short. Now look at the homiletical idea. The one who fears God, that is faithful, will build whatever provisions and blessing. That's too long. That's for you to keep it. But when you are going to do the preaching idea, all you need to do is make it concise or very short, at least 9 words. Okay. Okay. Unusual, grip the imagination, use fresh wording, and then scriptural, draw from the meaning of the text. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So here is the sequence. The homiletical idea reflects the theological idea, which later will become preaching idea that refines the homiletical idea. Okay, do we have a sample here? Like here, obedience reveals our true faith and releases bountiful blessing. Or obedience help us pass the test, results to blessing. So you try to reduce it, and until it becomes at least 9 words that would be easily for you to remember. Okay, like for example, this one, Abraham's obedience caused him to pass the test and was blessed. Okay, now here's the simple outline of using the Lowry's method. You remember that circle, the focus, what's the problem? Abraham was tested. Then the third, that's resolution, Jehovah provided. And then aim, the conclusion. Abraham's obedience caused him to pass the test and was blessed. Abraham's blessing came through his obedience as he fears the Lord. Now, yeah, you can always rewrite it, use all those keywords that will help them see the theological or the homiletical idea. Okay, all sermon. Let me highlight this one. All sermons ought to aim at the clarity, pointedness, and coherence of the didactic form, and the vividness, movement, and total listener's involvement of the narrative form. Didactic means you are getting the lesson, and you should have, you are getting the lesson as you involve in the story. That's the narrative form. The sermon ought to address, look at the next phrase, the whole person rather than the only the intellect or emotional or volitional. Whole person. That means not just intellect, not just the head, or not just the feeling, not just the will. So the whole person means the head, okay, the head, the heart, and the will. Okay, here, the hand. Okay, so what do we do here? If you are preaching, make sure you involve the total being of the person, your audience. One, you inform the head. That means you provide knowledge to their mind. And then you touch the heart. That means they feel it, and that is the emotion. And then you appeal to the will, and that is for them to change, for them to do something, and that is the hand. Okay. Now, let's go to your outline. Your outline consists of three major parts. What are the three major parts of your preaching outline? What are the three major parts of your preaching outline?
Introduction, body, and conclusion.
Okay, that's right. The introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Now, which will take a long time to prepare? What do you think?
Body.
The body? Okay. Any other opinion?
But we cannot negligence the introduction part also. It need to be catchy.
Yeah. Which now the reason why you said it will take a long time because you have to do the exegesis, right? But difficult is the creation or the making of the introduction, because the introduction will basically tell the people if they're going to listen to you or not. Introduction and the conclusion is the difficult one. Unlike in the body, if you know very well how to do exegesis, it would be easy for you. Introduction, there's a lot of things that you need to consider. Okay, so to help you this, I wrote down an acronym of introduction. Do you have this before in your preaching class?
Yes, sir, it was. Yes, sir, it was.
This one, intro. You have this already?
Oh, intro, that was not, sir.
This one, the acronym intro. Do you have this one? No. Hello?
No, sir, not exactly this one, but Pastor BJ taught us from another way.
Okay. Anyway, I'll share to you what we are using. I am using personally. Okay. Just remember the word intro. Now, take note, your first 3 sentences will tell your audience if they're going to listen or go home or sleep or do another thing. Especially when you say, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am so sorry because I was just informed that I'm going to preach today. I'm not really ready. I'm not really prepared." Oh, that is already a reason for them to say, "Hey, let's go home. This person is not prepared." Right? Now, a good introduction, intro, number 1, letter I, interest, sorry, should be past tense. Interest gain. A good introduction will get the interest of the people, of the audience. And your first 3 or 4 or 5 sentences will tell them if they're going to listen to you or not. Like, for example, you stand up. Usually, we greet them. Oh, that's fine. You build a rapport, right? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be with you this season. This is really something. And I hope everyone is enjoying the fine weather or the rain. That you build the rapport. Now, let me ask you this question. And then you take a pause. Was there a time in your life that you experienced getting lost in the city? Then you repeat that one. Was there a time in your life that you got lost in the city? Let's add to this one, in another country. Now, of course, if you haven't been to another country, use another, in another city, like that. Now, we call that as mental dialogue. That's a rhetorical question. That means you're not expecting that they're going to stand up and say, oh, me, I have expect. You're not expecting that one. But you are connecting to them through that question. And in their minds, they will be saying either, oh yeah, I experienced that one. Oh yeah. Or maybe some say, no, I have not experienced that one. What are you doing here? You're creating a reason for them to pay attention. Interest gain. Or maybe you can use a song. Let me share to you the lyrics of this song. Okay? And then you look at the lyrics of the song. For example, what's the famous song today among the Christian? Goodness of God, for example. The goodness. You heard the song? The goodness of God. That I've been faithful. Have you heard that one? All my life you have been so good. Have you heard that one?
No, sir.
Oh, you haven't heard.
We can take the other song, sir. Praise the Lord, 10,000 Reasons. That's much popular, I guess.
Yeah, whatever. Now, you let them listen to it. And then you can start your message through that song. Interest gain. Maybe you can use a current event. Okay, this morning, Nepal lost to Madrid. Oh, like for example, in the newspaper, oh, you get the attention already. Oh, I saw you. I saw you guys. You love soccer. You love football. When I was there. There is this inter-seminary, and I was cheering for KIT, Kathmandu in International Theology. Yeah. Anyway, interest gain. Again, be creative. Try to use something that will catch their attention. Now, don't just say something just to say something. It must build the need. Now, next is need raise. Okay, what is the relationship of what you're saying to me? Build the need. Okay, elevate that need, raise that need. Now, then after that, you can go to the story. You read the passage or you retell the story. Now, this is very similar to our story that we're going to look at, or to our narrative that we're going to look at today. In the book of Matthew, chapter 8, you'll find that Jesus and the disciples were sailing to another place from lake in the lake of Gennesaret, and then you retell the story. Now, later we'll be talking about how to retell the story. In preaching, it's okay for you to read, but in the narrative preaching, we will always recommend that you retell the story in your own way, so that it will become so vivid, it will become so animated, it will become a real story being narrated by someone. Need raised. And then you tell them the relevance of it. Relevance, focus. Why is this passage important? And then after that, you go to your outline. Outline, engage. So this morning, we're going to look at this narrative, this story. And in this story, you will find that faith is important in achieving our mission. That is your preaching idea. Faith is important in achieving our mission. And always repeat your preaching idea. The preaching idea, the reason why we call it the preaching idea, even if they go home, they will take it home with them, the preaching idea. Faith is important in achieving our assignment or whatever. That's intro. Any question about the introduction? Any questions? Now, the body is the mains that develop using zoom in, creatively retold narrative followed by zoom out, brief application. Okay. Now, this is the body. We're talking about the body. We finished the intro. Now you have the body. Now, in outline engage, you will be mentioning about the preaching idea. So this morning, we're going to look. Now, this morning, as we look at this passage, we are going to see that faith is important in achieving our, accomplishing our assignment. Faith is important in accomplishing our assignment. Now, that is your and then we're going to look then you say outline engage. So we're going to look at three, like for example in preaching one, you said we're going to look at three principles that will help us understand it. Three principles. That's your outline. You mentioned how many points you have. Three reasons why we need to give 5 steps in accomplishing the work for the Lord. You notice you will use 3 functional questions: the what, the why, and the how. The what, the why, and the how. Okay, let's go to the movement now here. The idea here is this: after the introduction, okay, now you begin to zoom in. You go to the story. Okay, you go to the story, you retell the story, and then zoom out, you get out of the story, and you start the application. Okay. For example, you retell the story of Abraham. So when Abraham was called by God, early in the morning, he packed up, you tell the story. Yeah. So that is the zoom in. And then zoom out. What can we see here? We can see here how Abraham proved that he feared God through his obedience. He did not complain. He did not ask about this. He did not, etc. That's the zoom out. That means you're now ready to say, I hope we have the same kind of faith. Faith that is ready to obey God anytime, at all costs. Okay, that is the idea of zoom in and zoom out. You go to the story, you go and retell the story, then afterwards you zoom out, you apply now the story with a brief commentary. And then you do it in today's setting. You zoom in the story, you go to the story, zoom out, so as you apply it into our present time. Now, in order for you to have a good body, you need to remember this one is mains, okay? The mains. Now, what is main? Your body should have a movement. When we say movement, you are following the flow of thought of the story. You are following the plot of the story, the beginning, the problem, the solution, and the conclusion. You're following this one. So when you are retelling the story, you are following that certain pattern. Again, the beginning, we're looking at the plot here, the beginning, the occasional incident, the problem, okay, and then the resolution comes the end of the story, and then you give the conclusion. Now, there must be a movement. That means if the listeners are following you, they can follow you because as they listen to you, they can see where you have started and where you are going. And if you're going to end your story, they can see that one too. Okay? Now, your body, if you have points, okay, for example, you have 3 points, there should be an alignment. When we say alignment, if you use a sentence, let me show you an example here. Like here. This is the main body. Point number 1. Okay? When we say alignment, just like this one, there is an alignment. Implication, what? That's you use 2 words. In your second point, you use the same thing, 2 words. Implication, what? Now, this is just a sample. This is not the actual outline. Let me share. Maybe I can share you one which is better. Where is Genesis here? We have one already. Here. Now, this is the alignment, the problem. Okay. The solution. The conclusion. Now, this is a sample of alignment. If you use, if you use 2 words, use 2 words. You can also say the testing of Abraham, the provision of Jehovah, the obedience of Abraham, or the blessings of Abraham. Are you getting the idea? When we say alignment here, we're talking about a symmetry here in your outline, in your body, in your outline. Don't use sentence, long sentence, and then the second point, just 3 words. But the symmetry is not good. If you use a phrase like the testing of Abraham, the provision of God, the blessings of Abraham, if you notice there is a symmetry. If you use 3 words, use 3 words. If you use phrase from outline point 1, 2, and 3. If you use a sentence, count the number of words so that there would be an alignment. That's it. And then the use of illustration. Okay. Now this is for the body. After giving the main point, you can use illustration if needed, if necessary, to make your point a more to make your point clarified. Okay? And then need felt, you can use again this story for them to see that they really need this one. And then the body should be simple. Don't use high sounding words, uh, but always scriptural. That means based from the Bible. So we have the intro, then we have the mains, the body. Now, the body, let's go back here. Here. Okay. For example, you did the introduction already. Contemporary need, interest, so you have developed the interest. Here is a sample of the introduction. What is your present and urgent need today? How do you think will you meet? How do you think you will? How do you think you? Sorry. How do you think you will meet this need today? Now, here's the connection. Today, we will look at a story of God's provision to his children. Okay? Then you look at the homiletical idea. From this story, are you seeing the connection? From this story, we'll see that obedience reveals our true faith and releases bountiful blessings. So, introduction, INTRO. This is the preaching idea. Okay, this is the PI. And then you connect now to your body. Okay. Now, this is the body, main one. So, you do the exposition and then you do the explanation, application. Short application. Not necessarily the final application. The final application will be done after the body. Then you go, transition, you go to the second point, and then comes the final. You go to the conclusion here. Okay, you go to the conclusion. Basically, this is what I will be expecting from you when you preach. Okay, you just read this one. They are very similar. These are all examples. Now, you go to, now, do you have question before we, okay, let me talk to you muna first. Do you have any question? Do you have any question? Okay. So no question, huh? To go back again. Now, here is here are some suggestions when it comes to preaching strategies. And then you take note. We have this creative what? Creative retelling. If you are going to tell a story, okay? If someone is telling you the story, what are you looking at this person or at this story? If you want an exciting, a wonderful retelling of the story, what are you expecting from this person who's telling the story? What do you expect? What do you want to see? What do you want to see?
So the
Well,
question is, when I'm sharing the story, what am I expecting from the audience? Is that the
No,
question?
no. If you are the audience, if you are the one listening, and you're listening to a preacher, and he's retelling the story, right? What are you expecting? What do you want to see from that teacher, from that preacher?
His presentation.
Yeah.
I think, sir,
We're already in the preaching now.
I think, sir,
Simple and clear.
Wait.
we are just looking for what is the lessons which will be a benefit for our life. That must be interesting and easy to apply in our life.
Yeah, but again, that's the that's good, you know. You are expecting, you are waiting for the lesson. Okay. What else? How about in the way he present it?
Well, sir, here
Interesting.
actually,
Yes, acting.
Wait. One at a time.
well,
Now
let
you're all
me
excited to speak.
let me explain actually. See,
Sige,
this way,
that's Milan. Okay, Milan.
yeah. See, the very first thing what we expect is whether he's going to tell the story in his own way or not. His
Huh?
own the way he tells story, a person tells his story, it should be in his own way. It should not be like copyright or something like that. The way of presentation, how he is going to present in his own language,
Yeah,
own
what
way,
do you mean
activities,
own? What do
ideas.
you mean own way? Own way.
Voice variations, maybe.
No,
That
let's go
means
to
like,
Milan first.
yeah, that it actually means like whether he have he's telling something, whether he has inherited those words into his mind, into his application, in whether he's applying those words in his life or not. That is the first point. In general.
But again, if you're listening to someone, there is no way for you to know if he's applying it now.
Yes, sir. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Wait. I'll finish with Milan first.
See,
So
yeah, I got your point. See, that is very clear. Like when a person comes to tell a story or to preach something, the expression, the way he presents the things at the very beginning, the starts, that is the very first striking point.
Okay, so someone said he must be so interesting, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. Okay, Arjun said, I want to see enthusiasm, confidence, passion, communication skill. All right, that's good. What else?
Timing also.
Timing. What do you mean timing? Anjan. What do you mean timing? Let me finish with Anjan first.
Yeah, in my opinion, what is a preacher going to preach, we don't know. You know, when he start the preaching, we don't know what he is going to preach, but how he present, how can he catch us?
Yeah, that's why we have, Anjan, that's why we have the introduction.
Yeah,
he will tell to you, what he's going to preach. He will tell to you what we're going to do and where we are going and how we're going to get there. That's the idea.
But like, what I mean is, if the story is very interesting or the main idea is very interesting, but his preaching style is very boring, then that will be the bad part. So the main thing is his presentation.
Yeah, like who mentioned that one?
I had mentioned in the beginning.
Who said that one? The chat? Did somebody made the chat already?
You know, sir, when I read the part you sent us to read, and when I read that, and I picturize like a movie. Like in a movie, if story is a very simple, but their presentation is excellent, then we can enjoy the movie. Likewise, the sermon preaching is the same style. If preacher present in a excellently, then we can understand, we can concentrate in his presentation.
Okay,
So
good.
the main presentation is the main part of his preaching style.
Okay, thank you, Arjan. Atmika, you're saying something?
Sir, I said timing, sir.
Timing. What do you mean timing?
If it is lengthy, then you could get boring sometimes.
If it's long, like our class, 3 hours, it's boring.
No, sir. I
If
mean to
it's
say,
too long, yeah,
if
you know,
it's
but
long, people
if
don't
it's
want to hear that
long,
long sermon.
long sermon.
If
Supposedly,
people are not responding sermon, then how could it be good preaching?
again, okay. Well, no, in some cases, like if I go to, if I, like in Hong Kong, if I preach, people will ask more, more, more. They are hungry for word, especially if they are really interested with what you're saying. So in a sense, the length of time doesn't really matter, except if you promise that you are if in your program in the church, and we should be true to this one, if the service starts like 10 in the morning and should end 12 11:30 in the morning, you should be true to that one. If you are the preacher, make sure that you are polite enough to follow that program. Now, yes, you're right. It's not the length actually, because people think if I have a long message, you have to listen to this one, and that will really make you spiritual. That's not true. Again, we're talking about presentation here. We need to develop our communication skills. We need to develop how we are going to teach or preach with style. But again, the warning here is this: we are doing this not to impress people, not for people to applaud and say, wow, he's a good preacher. No? But you are doing this to make your message really influencing them to know it and to do something about it. That's the reason why. So interesting in a sense that people are so, because you have this enthusiasm, and they can identify to what you're saying. You use your hands. You use your body language. You just don't stay in the pulpit, especially if you're retelling the story. Like for example, and sometimes you do a sense of humor. Like for example, when Jesus was walking and he saw Peter in the sycamore tree, he said, Peter, yeah, you go down. You remember that story? Hello. You remember that story when Jesus was walking and he saw that hey. You remember that? He said to Peter, Peter, you go down.
Not exactly, sir.
Huh?
Not exactly.
What not
We couldn't
exactly?
refer you.
Huh?
Get you. The incident, can you clarify more?
Sir,
Yeah,
Matthew 14:29 actually
yeah,
you're saying that?
when Jesus was walking together with his disciple, he saw Peter up to the sycamore tree, and he said, Peter, you go down.
It was not Peter, was he?
Huh?
It was
Jacob or
Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus, not
Zacchaeus.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not yet finished. And I said, Peter, you go down. You're not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be Zacchaeus. No, that's a joke. So the idea there is people will think, oh, just like what Pamar said, oh, it's not Zacchaeus, it's not Peter, it's Zacchaeus. And then I said, yeah, I know. Suppose it's not Peter. Kaya that's why I told Peter, Peter, you go down. You're not supposed to climb there. It's supposedly Zacchaeus should be climbing up there. Well, I'm just trying to tell to you that if you're going to retell a story, there should be this enthusiasm, there should be life, there should be animation, and you creatively retell the story without actually destroying the message of the story. Sometimes we call it as creative preaching. Now, for example, earlier I mentioned about Lazarus. Do you think Jesus just say, Lazarus, come forth? No. Of course, that's the reason why I shouted. No, if you're retelling the story and you tell to the people. And so when the stones were rolled, he shouted and said, Lazarus, come forth. You lose your people already. You should be animated. You should be really showing as if you are there. You can see how Jesus shouted. You know the good thing about the story about Lazarus, the resurrection of Lazarus? You know the good thing about there? Here's something that will really make the people laugh. The good thing there is only one Lazarus who was buried there in that cemetery. Just imagine if there are 6 Lazarus there who will... I don't know. Are you getting my story here? Are you getting the idea here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you imagine if there are 6 Lazarus there? Oh, no, not you, not you. No, not you, not you. I hope you're getting the idea that when you retell the story, the people can feel that they are in that story. That's narrative preaching. If you're retelling the story, zoom in and then zoom out. Zoom in, you go to the story. Let the people join you in that story. You know, while they were walking, everyone, you can hear the noise around. Everyone, they're shouting. Everyone is trying to get the attention of Jesus. Jesus, Jesus! Without losing the meaning of the whole story. Okay? Okay, good. So this is it. Using our study of the historical setting, social customs of the day, and understanding of motives behind behavior, we retell the story, filling in color, thoughts, and emotions of character. You know what I'm saying? Emotions of character. If you think Jesus was angry and hitting all those money changers, whipping them, and just imagine what is taking place. Okay, feel it and sense-oriented. We pay close attention to parallels between the biblical story and the lives of our contemporary audience. Yeah. You try to connect them, biblical world and the present world. Okay, try to know the drama of the author and the receiver or the readers, their relationship and historic setting. Try to look at the drama of the narrative proper, the whole story itself, the setting. The drama within a parable. The purpose of creative retelling is to maintain what? Mental interest. Now again, that lady Arjan, it's very important. Huh? The message is not about the length. And always look at this. Be sensitive with the people. How do you know if people are already bored? How do you know if the people are already bored? Atmika, that's Atmika who mentioned about the length. How do you know if the people are already bored?
Because people are sleeping on sermon time.
Huh?
Because they are sleeping on sermon time. They are not listening.
Oh yeah, okay. They're bored. Aside from because they are tired because they have gone to work. Yeah, they are already sleeping, or maybe they are showing that yawning. Okay. What else? How do you know if the people are already bored?
Some of them are chatting with
Oh,
friends.
that is so very impolite when they're talking to each other already, Chad.
Sometime the audience can turn the Bible, then they start reading the best story they like.
They go to they read the Bible, huh? Okay. Now those are good, but usually here's the thing. Try to remember this one. You know, people are boring when they begin to move. Okay, when they begin to move, showing that they are already, in a sense, bored, dissatisfied, discontent. Now, of course, in Nepali setting, they are, you don't, you sit on the carpet there, right? You still have one. Be sensitive with that one. When they begin to move and move, that means they're already bored. Okay. Now, especially when they look at their watch. Yeah. And not only that, when they look at their watch, they begin to shake it if it's, if it's working. That's, be sensitive on that one. Be sensitive on that one. Okay. Uh, Maintain mental interest. Okay. So you keep on informing the mind. And then the purpose of creative retelling is to evoke emotional identification. To touch the heart. It has the idea of when you retell the story, they can feel it. Oh, those Israelites when they were being beaten by the slave masters, and they were telling to them, "You have to produce more, more, more." You can feel the agony. You can feel the pain. You can feel what is going on in their heart. Especially when they are being beaten while they are working. And so they come to Moses and complain. We do not have water here. We're going to die. When you retell the story. And Moses went to the Lord and said, "What will I do, Lord? They are now ready to stone me." Let it be felt by your audience. Then also, your creative retelling will increase willful response. Appeal to the will to change. It's not just telling the story for the sake of telling the story. At the end of every preaching, at the end of every teaching, at the end of every Bible study, what we want to see is transformation taking place. Transformation taking place. Okay, so these are all something that you can read now. Means of creative retelling. expand on the setting of the story. Now, appealing to the senses for stimulating the imagination. Identification and participating in the story are enhanced this way. You might use question to draw the congregation into the story. Now, sample that I did, I stopped sharing and I asked you, what makes a storytelling so interesting? What do you expect from this one? Okay, so you participated. Now in your preaching or in your narrative preaching, you can ask and you can wait for the answer. Or it can be a rhetorical one. While waiting for the answer, you take a pause. Okay? Let them meditate, let them contemplate, let them process what you are asking. Okay, so this is one way of retelling the story. Or utilize a first-person monologue approach. This gives the retelling of the story a unique entry point and focus. These characters' thoughts and emotions are highlighted, and the audience is better able to identify with him or with her. A monologue is one person retelling the story, and his way of retelling this allow him to uh, to pinpoint his idea. Now, while you're doing this, you can also do the switch from one person to another in the story. Okay, you can be the narrator using a different voice, and so they begin their journey, and they reach the place, and it says there, and the young man says, "Father, we have here the woods, we have here the offering. We have here the woods and the fire. Where is our offering?" And Abraham said, "Don't you worry, my son." Now that's retelling the story using different voice. Okay, just make sure that you are consistent with your voice. You don't interchange Isaac and Abraham with your voice, and then the narrator. Okay. Create a literary character, make the audience setting for the story a modern one. Sometimes you mention things that will help them identify what you are talking about in the modern times. Set the story in the 20th century. Okay, and then applications through creative retelling, weave application into the retelling of the story. Okay, yeah, it's you can do a we call it shooting application, an application that you can encourage them to do something in a very simple way, like if you're talking about that forgiveness, simple shooting application, you can ask them, when was the last time you showed that forgiveness? Okay, simple. A question will make it make some way for them to apply it. Use a final conclusion application if appropriate. Now, if you have 3 points, you have 3 short application, and then you have the final application. All right, the rest are all ways to sources for creative retelling, dialogue, some data, facts, appeal to the senses, use action words, not simply description, break into first and second person, like I mentioned, unfold the human drama. Okay. Next week, next meeting would be workshop. That means you're supposed to now in the face-to-face class, we go to the classroom and they start working. They continue with their work, and then we have this coaching while they're doing this. We cannot do that one. Okay, that workshop thing, we cannot do that one. So what we're going to do for on the 26th, that's the 26th, okay? You don't need to go to the class. But listen, you have to sit down and finish everything. Okay? Is that delicious, Arjun? What you're eating?
Yes, sir. Almost like that.
Okay.
Sir, what do you mean by finish everything? Means like you mean that worksheet or that entire preaching that sample?
Yeah. You have to finish everything. Uh, when is your due when is your due exegesis worksheet?
1st April, you said.
Huh? March?
1st April.
Huh?
Think
April?
1st April?
Did I say April?
Yes, sir. I think so. 1st April one baat enna sorry.
Did I
Yes,
say April?
yes, sir. Yes,
The
sir. April
final.
2. Before April 2.
That's the final.
Yeah. No,
You
not
said,
final, sir.
you said it's before 31st March and 31st March before midnight.
Okay. 31st March. Okay.
And,
All
and
right.
that one is just for worksheet, I guess, not for entire work.
No,
Right?
yeah, it's the whole exegesis worksheet. Right? Now, we might run out of time if because somebody mentioned, oh, we have exam supposedly today, right? Today or 20 something. When is that exam? That's the reason why I
28,
extended.
I guess.
20?
28th of March.
Okay. All right. Here's the thing. We're not going to have class, this kind of class, but you have to sit down in your own. This is work from home class by yourself. You have to finish everything so that if possible, before that March 31st, you can submit it to me so that I can send it back to you. Now, the earlier, the better. It will really take a lot of time for me to correct or to check those things. Yeah. Now, use Word. Don't use PDF so that I can put comments on that one. The PDF, I cannot put some comment. Use the Word, okay? Word. So, yeah. Any question?
Sir, instead of storytelling during the sermon, can we just read the text?
Retelling the story, yeah, you can read the text, but I would suggest do something different when just reading the text. And so they walk in Gethsemane and but how about putting some creative way of retelling the story? Like let me share to you again that one. Try to use some drama. Now, human drama, that means it's not you get people around you. That's not what I'm saying. That you have your role is Mary, your role is George. No, not that's what. When I say unfold the human drama, let them feel what you are reading. Let them identify themselves with the characters of the story. If there is pain in the story, they can feel the pain. If there is joy, they can rejoice with you. If there are crying in the story, you can sing. You get that, Anita?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, I know you can just read that one. But again, better because this is more of a going to the story. I would always suggest be animated. Be animated. Okay.
Sir, sir, when we go into the main body part and when we in a storytelling to make our story more interesting, can we create a hypothetical story ourselves?
Hypothetical, that means you are making additional
Yeah,
things.
like
As
beside main story to cover main story, can we create a hypothetical sub story?
self-story,
Sub
hypothetic
story.
sub-story.
Yeah.
You can use the illustration portion.
Yeah, like as
Yeah,
illustration, yes.
you zoom in and you zoom out. You can say, this thing happened to, then you tell the story. Very short, huh? Let not that one cover the whole story. Are you getting the idea?
As a reference, as a reference or as a illustration.
More of an illustration.
Yeah, yeah.
More of an illustration, especially when you zoom out, when you are already telling to them in our setting. Like when Abraham was asked by God to offer his son. Okay, zoom in, you tell the story, and then zoom out. It literally happened to me when my son got sick. I thought my son is going to be with the Lord already, and you retell that one. The idea there is you're trying to tell what is in the heart of a father who was asked to be killed, to be offered. You getting the idea, Arjan? Anjan? Okay, illustrate that to me.
Sir, got it. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm going to share to you something. Okay. Okay. Wait. Let's have a 5-minute stand-up break. I'm just going to get one more. Okay, stand-up break.
Sure. I
Comfort
have got
room break.
one question. Well, I'll be asking after break then. No worries.
It's okay. You can ask now.
Sure. Actually, see all these things what you explained, I got it. It's fine and everything is well. But the question is, I'm struggling to work with this worksheet actually. Can I share my screen, sir, with you for a while?
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me show you. Share the screen. Okay, is it visible, sir?
No.
Still no?
Your screen is here. I can see the screen.
You can't see the screen?
No, I can see your screen.
Okay. See, now the question is, no. Let me be clear with these things because I'm struggling with this actually. I have already started this one. As I told you, I'm working on Exodus 14, right?
Okay.
So I have already started, as you have given one example of Genesis 22, right? So I have started here settings and all these things, okay? But the question is, now, let me show you the other screen. Where is the classroom? Zoom, worksheet. Where?
It's okay. Yeah, your worksheet is your draft.
Yeah, just a minute, sir, just a minute. Because
क्लासरुममा
we
क्लिक
have to.
गर्नुहोस् न स्ट्रिममा हैन
Yeah.
क्लासरुममा क्लिक गर्नुभयो भने भेट्नुहुन्छ
केमा?
क्लासरुममा क्लास वर्क छ नि क्लास वर्क तल सेकेन्ड अब स्क्रोल गर्दै जानु
Okay, so here, where is that?
There, historical worksheets.
Yeah, worksheet. Okay. So now, okay, see this one. Now the
Yeah.
question is, what should I mention here? All these things. I'm really confused with these things actually here. Like for example, name.
Your name.
Oh, that's students. All right. Now here text. essential cross-reference, and
Yeah.
then essential textual and translation issues. So will you please just give one example where, let's say, for example, few lines. What should I mention actually over here?
For example, your text, Exodus 14.
Correct.
Okay. And then you use for translations. Okay. For translation.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to think something. For example, Genesis 22. After these things, or since then, those are samples of translation. Okay, so you saw, and then you try to see what is best on this. That is why then your choice and why. For example, if you go and use parallel translation, you got 4 translation: NIV, NASB, King James Version, and New Living Translation, and then you look at the passage differently, you notice there are some translations that goes like this and some translations goes like this. And then you see the difference here. If you see a difference, mention the difference, and then say, I choose this translation, like you used NIV. Why? I choose this one. Okay. Now again, this is your draft. This is your worksheet. Okay. You're not going to tell this to your preaching or to your final work like Genesis 22. I don't need to see that one. But during your study, most likely you'll be comparing verses. Most likely you'll be using like for example, you said, I choose the NASB because the verse 13 is very close to the original translation that I found in my Hebrew Bible. Like that. You explain like that.
So you mean like here, let's see, in this on this page in screen, you can see here in text, I'll be writing Exodus 14.
Yeah, okay.
And then essential cross reference means if I am going to find any variation between the different translations, that I have to mention over here.
No. Cross-reference means, are there, can you find the story in Exodus 14 in other passages?
Okay, got it, sir.
Like for example, Hebrews 11, you'll find Moses there.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, okay. That's cross-references.
All right. Then in A, essential textual and translation issues. So that one you just recently explained, I guess.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
All right. And in B, essential historical and cultural social setting of author and original audience. So
Yeah.
what is it actually, sir?
Yeah, that's the background. Remember we talked about this, the setting, the cultural setting, geographical setting. You just identify them. Like for example,
You mean that particular story during that time? What was the
oh
situation
yeah,
over there?
of course, during that
Right?
that time.
Yeah, what was the
Yeah.
culture and the tradition?
Yes, yes. Like for
I got it, sir.
example, the why the eldest? Why not the youngest be killed?
Correct.
Okay, okay, that's it.
So in C is similarly essential contextual theme. Show connection and themes from passage before and after.
Yeah, again, you go to, remember, content, context, consult, compare, consult, compare. Now, Exodus 14, that's related to Exodus 13. But not only 13, it's related to Exodus 3 when Moses was called.
Correct.
Okay, so you can see the running theme. What's the main idea? That's why in Genesis we have the theme of God's promise to bring them to the promised land, become a blessing to nations, and the promise of a seed. That is actually the whole Genesis. So you try to get the connection with it. Oh, we're
Okay,
doing
and
the same. We're repeating everything, huh?
well, no, I just wanted to be clear, sir, because see, we have to
Me or
submit
you?
this worksheet, right?
Yeah.
So things should be in proper way. So that's why I'm just clearing it out. Well, in number D, essential story and structure elements of narrative itself, like narratives is historical, cultural, social
Same thing.
setting.
Okay.
So
Same
this is
thing.
again, is that the same like before?
Yeah, almost the same. Essential
Almost same,
story
right?
and structure elements of narrative
A
itself.
narrative.
Wait. The story itself, the content
Okay.
itself. Okay.
Okay. And narrative characters, I can understand that. Narrative section, plot makers for a exegetic outline.
Yeah. Remember the plot?
Yeah, I do remember that, sir. That's
Okay. So
fine.
you just
Then,
okay.
yeah, narrative plot. We have to fill all these things, sir. Settings, actions, blah, 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 all this.
Yes, sir. But that's why we need to understand the plot.
Okay. I got it, sir. Then other clues to significance of narratives, direct statements by author or indirect statements through the character. This one I didn't get it. What does it mean, sir? If we find any direct
Genesis
statement
22.
from author.
Listen. Genesis 22. After these things, that's the narrator. God tested Abraham. That's the narrator. Okay?
Correct.
That is the direct statement by the author, by the narrator. So you ask this question.
Yeah, I got it, sir. Got it.
Okay. About the character.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Literary features signaling significance.
Okay, you read that one because you can get everything in our teacher's note. Repetition, sun, etc.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Essential theological themes, all right. Essential timeless life issues and principles.
Okay.
So what is it, sir? G number?
Yeah, remember preparing for the homiletical outline. What is the summary in a sense? What did you get there?
Okay.
So Abraham showed his faith by obeying and fearing God, for example, like that.
All right. So I can manage this now. In
Okay.
same way, we have to work with homiletics also as well.
I explained
Right,
that
sir?
last night. I explained everything last
Yeah, I
time,
got
right?
it. So in same way. All right, sir. All right. That's all. Because I was
Okay.
really confused over there. Finally, I got the ideas. I can do that now. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Now let's go and have our 5-minute break. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Let's
ब्रेकमा सोध्नुहोस् न या ब्रेक भनेपछि
Okay, if you're ready, we will resume our class now. Okay, if you're ready, we resume our class.
5 minute break is over. Kindly turn on your videos.
Yes, Pamar.
My confusion with the assignment we are supposed to submit you before 23rd. So I may ask someone.
23rd?
Colleagues, yes. 30th, before 30th, right?
Before March 30, right?
Yeah. So अन्त बहिनी म त के बुझ्नु भएको छ अलिकति भनिदिनु त यो के खास वर्कसपमा चाहिँ के गर्नुपर्ने रहेछ
That is why that is why we're not going to have session on the 26th, so that you will have work from home. Now we're not going to stop the class because we're just going to stop it. It's time for you to do the workshop in your home. You do it, finish it, the worksheet.
In paper? In paper?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, paper. No, I mean, you can do it in your computer, so you can send it to me later. That's how I'm going to look at it. You get it, Pamar? So I can check it. I can put my comments using the Word.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, excuse me,
So
sir.
will you be presenting visually, right? We're not presenting or reading.
No presentation. No presentation. Yeah, is that the meaning you said in paper? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. Your worksheet, your draft, your everything. Okay. Now I have to go to this next item natin. Our next item. Sometimes I'm speaking in Tagalog now. Who among you have been to this teaching with style? Now this is, I'm also a certified instructor for Walk Through the Bible. And one of the titles that we're teaching is this teaching with style. Okay, teaching with style. This is the materials that we are sharing, and this material is from the Walk Through the Bible. And in this segment, okay, there are tools to overcome boredom. We're not going to discuss the universal principles, the biblical characteristics, the internal beliefs, but we're going to talk about external behaviors. External behavior. This is something that people will be seeing in us, and that will prevent them to be bored in our class. Now, let me introduce you to the boredom giants. Okay, the giants of ignorance, the giants of intimidation, the giants of inhibition, the giants of indifference. All these giants are trying to cause you not to do your best, so that later on people will see you as a boring preacher or as a boring teacher. The giant of ignorance who doesn't want you to know about style. Like I think Anita or Susmita was the one who asked, is it okay for me to just read the text? Okay, that's okay. But I would suggest you change your style that would make the retelling of the story more interesting. Okay, we need to get rid of this boredom giant. The giant of intimidation is the giant who makes us feel timid or afraid. What are the sources of our fear? Fear defeats more people than any other one thing in the world. What happens when we are afraid? It can paralyze us. It can create some mental block. It can cause us many things. Okay? There was a survey that was done. What do most people fear? Okay? People greatest fear: dogs, loneliness, flying, death, sickness, deep water, if you are in a sea or whatever, financial problems, insects and bugs, heights. But the number one is speaking before a group. This is a big factor when it comes to being afraid to speak before a group. Okay? Your mouth gets dry and some of the parts of you get wet. So how are we going to overcome this? One, we're going to have with this what we call external behaviors. Number one is voice. Every one of us has voice, but we have to make use of our voice in various ways. Okay? Look at this. Drone, 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 drone. That's monotone. If you are speaking in the same pacing, same tone, same volume, you are going to create this kind of what we call boredom. The human voice is the number one tool for promoting what? Interest or creating boredom in teaching. How we use our voice will really make a big difference. Now, if you are in a hospital, if you are a patient, and if you are critical, there is a monitor. No? You'll find a monitor, and that monitor will tell if there is life. Now, the monitor will go up and down. Toot, 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 toot. That means there is life. But the moment the line goes straight, toot, that means what? You're dead, right? That means you're dead. The same thing with teaching and preaching. The moment our style became flat, one line, one sound, one everything, most likely the people will encounter this boredom. Okay, Jesus, for example, used loud voice. On the last and greatest day of the feast, Jesus stood and said in what? In a loud voice. Loud voice. Now, pardon me if I cannot speak loud here. It's really, it's almost midnight na here. It's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock and my neighbors will be awakened if I shout. Okay? So Jesus stood and said in a loud voice. But he also speak even with no sound. Silence. He bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. Jesus is a vocally varied teacher. The right word may be effective, but no word can ever be as effective as a mighty time pause. If you are retelling the story, you allow that pause, a moment of silence for people to process it, for people to feel it, for people to think about what you are saying or what you're talking about. That's a timely pause. Be intentional. Let them listen to the sound of silence. How do you use your voice? Okay. The boring zone, too soft, too low, too slow. Now, so what we can see here is, don't say, well, I am like this. This is how I speak. This is how. Now, normal may not be the best. There must be a variation. This is what I'm saying. When it comes to volume, you can speak loud or you can speak soft. Okay? When it comes to pitch, you can say it in a high pitch or low pitch. When it comes to the rate, you can do fast talking as if someone is chasing you, or you can do a slow one. And sometimes when we talk slow, people listen more. They can get your message when you do it. Okay? Variation or voice movement is the key. External behaviors. Number 2, use your eyes. Okay? Use your eyes. Eyes speak. Okay? The baby, what is the baby trying to tell to us? Anyone?
Baby is happy and content.
Okay, good. How about the other one?
Curious.
Curious? Okay. Whatever it is. Do you know who's that guy? That's Mr.
Adorable.
Bean. That's Mr. Bean, the comedian. He can show a disbelief. He can show that he is teasing you or whatever. Okay? But eyes can speak. No, you just if you go to your wife and just smile to her and try to move your eyes, doing like this, hi sweetheart. Even if you do not finish your sentence, she knows what you're talking about. Anyway, Jesus is a real looker. Okay, he looked around at them in what? Anger. So his eyes speaks about anger. You can see his eyes and you can see he's angry. Jesus looked at him and loved. Jesus looked around, and then the Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Jesus, a real looker. So how do you do this one? Move your head slowly around as you talk, with your eyes making many just for an instant contact with individuals. And with spot sections of your audience, you must take time to make all of the people feel they are in the meeting. Whether you have 10 people in front of you or you have 1,000 people around you, they must feel, every one of them must feel that you are talking to them. Right? You are talking to them. Just like what I'm doing now, I'm looking at you. Now, sometimes when you do the Zoom, you look at the person talking. So when you look at the person talking, what happens is your eyes will look down. And if I'm saying something, I'm no longer looking at you. Are you getting the idea? I'm no longer looking at you. But if I look at my camera, I am looking at you. This is an eye contact. Even during Zoom, you can always show this one. And when you move further, you can use your hands, which we'll be talking about later. Okay? Ineffective zones, looking above. Sorry. Now, if you have this audience, ineffective zones looking above the audience, ineffective zones looking down at the audience. So what do? You use the Z. Okay? You look at the Z zone. You look at the left, your left, and then you move to the right. When you move your eyes to the right, and then you move again, lower down to the left, if you have this audience with you, and then you go to lower right, if you have that audience with you. That's the Z zone. That means you need to look at every zone. Even though you're not connecting with an eye-to-eye contact, the idea of looking at them as a whole will have the idea of eye connections as well. Okay. The speaker should not only speak from heart to heart, but from eye to eye and face to face. After all, the preacher is God's messenger to the people. And this gives an authority to his message. Therefore, while having no confidence in the flesh, he should have every confidence in the message and show this confidence by looking at his audience straight in their eyes as he proclaims the good news. Another one, okay? External behavior, facing the fact. Let the audience see and feel what you are saying and what you are thinking and what you are feeling through your face. Your face can show a lot of possible scenarios. Okay. Yeah, these are different faces. Okay. Anyway, when it comes to facial expression, okay, we can express what we are feeling, what we are thinking, and what we are what we are actually planning to do through our facial expression. It's one said, Iles says, 80 muscles, there are 80 muscles in your face that are capable of making more than 7,000 facial expression. Use your face. Okay. Okay. We cannot do that exercise. External behavior, gesture, reaching out to make a point. How you stand in front of the people will tell them if you are ready, if you are concerned, if you are confident with what you are talking about. Communication is approximately 70%, 7% words, 38% voice tones, and 55% body language. Now, here's the effective zone when it comes to gesture, right? Okay, the effective zone. From green to purple to orange. It depends on who your audience are. If your audience is small, for example, 10 people, you cannot go and shout and move your hands as if you have 1,000 people. So if there are few people, you just try to minimize your hands, your movement, your gestures. But the more people you have in your audience, now the more you expand your gesture, your hands, your movement, like you want to walk, you can walk. Okay, everything. Okay, we're not going to do the exercise. How about taking a stand, your posture in front of the people? Such large crowd gathered around him, then he got into a boat and sat in it while the people stood on the shore. On the last and greatest day of the feast, Jesus stood and said in a loud voice, okay. So what we can see here is this. There is variation when it comes to teaching and preaching. Of course, don't be like this, huh? To relax. Okay? The goal is to carry oneself in the teaching setting in such a way that you enhance the delivery. The way you stand, the way you talk, the way you move your hands, the way you show your face, your facial expression, will actually help in delivering the message effectively. Okay. External behavior number 6, appearance. Okay, I'm not going to discuss this lengthily, but appearance will show or will give an impression of you when it comes to your audience. Make a proper impression. Okay. Unless you are seeking to make a particular statement by what you are wearing. Now look at the note here. Dress equal to or just a little bit more formal than the way the majority of your audience dresses? The good thing about your dress is equal to them. They can see that they can connect to you and you to them. Dressing a little notch high, a little bit formal, will give you, in a sense, an element of authority for you that you can establish to them so that they will have the idea, oh, this one is, in a sense, is in authority to speak. I will listen to him. Also, brush your hair before teaching or preaching. That's a commercial. Movement. Let's get moving. Okay? When there is movement, there is life. When a teacher limits his movement, he limits the opportunity for dynamically reaching students. Right? So, if you have a big congregation, you walk. You walk to the left, you walk to the right. Now, don't walk just for the sake of walking. Right? If there is movement, you get the attention of the people, especially when you are pointing a certain point from your message. Okay. Now, here's the idea. Okay. Okay. In the center is your pulpit. Move away from the podium, move away from the table, or move away from the lectern. Don't be tied or chained in your pulpit. Okay? You can move closer to your audience. You can go down from your pulpit and try to reach them out. You can move around the room, especially if you're teaching. Okay? So, the giants of intimidation make you want to run when you stand before others. It is rooted in a fear of others and a concern for how they will respond to us. And these giants make their presence known whenever you start to speak. Okay? These giants, with hot air, you can deflate and defeat them. You can slay the giant of intimidation. It is just in your mind. You can defeat them because they are just in your mind. And you can tell them, no, I have this confidence, I can do this because I am prepared. God has given me the spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. Now, how do you get rid of these butterflies? Well, the object is not to get rid of the butterflies, but to get the butterflies to fly in formation. Okay? In formation. The butterflies will always be there, but you can command the butterflies to be a great help to you. Okay? That's teaching with style. So when you do the preaching love, I'll be expecting some kind of variation from you. Okay? Any question? You find it helpful?
Yes, sir. It is helpful.
So when you preach or when you retell the story, you will move your webcam, your camera far from you so that I can see the whole body. Okay? So I'm expecting that you use your hands, you use your voice, you use your face, eyes, okay? Gesture, appearance. Anyway, you're going to write in your worksheet your audience. Is the church the venue? Is it a farm? Is it a Bible study? So how many people will be there? Okay? Any question?
Sir, we will be using the PowerPoint slides, no? Right?
Well, better not to use that one. Because if you use the PowerPoint, you're just you're going to make your screen small and just retell the story. Anyway, you'll be given only 10 to 15 minutes. So sometimes just the preparation for that one, and then if the PowerPoint will have some problems, then you waste your time. What I'm really interested is how you're going to deliver this one. All right, are you with me?
Yes, sir. Sir, but since the stories are long, almost of 30 to 40 verses, then will we be able to complete it within 10 minutes?
Don't try to choose from the whole story. Like for example, I guess yours is what's
The
yours?
destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh yeah, that's why I said, oh, you have to choose. Yeah, because the whole passage talks about the visit of these two men, and these two men, they were chased by the people at Sodom and Gomorrah. They want to have sex, and then you have to choose. Just choose the portion of that one, and then you don't need to retell the whole book, verse by verse. That's why we ask you to retell the story without losing the meaning of the story. Okay?
So just one question, or maybe like I'm curious about the slides that you showed about body language and gesture. Apart from the crowd, does it also depend upon the culture? Because some culture people move, some culture people don't move,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I think yeah. If the culture, if it's going to be impolite to do
Mm.
it, don't do it. That's why you need to know your audience.
Yes.
Knowing
Because-
your audience.
Mm.
Okay, that's a good question. All right. Any other thoughts? I
Yes,
think
sir. So once I had attended the church in Singapore, as in a city Irish church with Kong Hei, and in a Joseph Prince church in a New Christian. The both pastors were their appearance is very stylish.
because
Yeah.
you're in because you're in Singapore.
No, I had gone there in 2010, and I had attended the both services. But and in their they are so stylish, and their appearance, their moving style, it's look like a watching a movie. That's why so many crowd go to listen their message.
Yeah, but you go to John MacArthur, you go to Chuck Swindoll, you go to who's the other one? Charles Stanley. They're not stylish, they're not, but they have big number of people following. Yeah, you have to know your audience. You
Yeah,
have to know your people.
yeah.
So Jane,
Their audience are so many young people.
young people, young people.
Yeah.
Yeah, young people, yeah. But again, you don't need to copy them. Be you. Like for example, in Nepal, you have your dress, you have your outfit. Okay, you don't need to be like them, just wearing t-shirts, because like for example, Rick Warren, right? Rick Warren. Rick Warren loved the Hawaiian. So many pastors now wears the Hawaiian. But that one is Rick Warren. That's not you. Okay? So be you, be yourself, but be creative. Like for example, you're going to talk about the Exodus chapter 3, when Moses was in the wilderness shepherding. Oh, you come out in the church wearing a shepherd's cloth. Yeah. Oh, that's an exciting thing. Maybe you'll be preaching from the story about Solomon as a king. So you come out wearing this crown. Oh, people, oh, that's creative preaching. That's something that will. And
We should have our own creativity, not a copy of others. But the primary thing is the presentation and the our movement, our appearance. I think they are the secondary things.
yeah, again, don't do the movement just for the sake of moving. If it is needed, do it.
You know, some
Okay.
people doesn't move. Just they hold the pulpit and
Pulpit.
speak. Yeah, and speak loudly, and they can catch up all the audiences.
Yeah. Again, know your audience. Some of the audience, you don't need to shout to them because they can hear you. Some audience, some style, they have to shout and move their hands like this. And with all those clinging, well, sometimes it depends also. Sometimes your pastor is like that, you become like that too. You are what your leader is. Anyway. All right. It's nice to have you again. I'm going to dismiss you. And I'll try to finish the response to your email. If you have not submitted that one, please don't expect any response from me. But if it's in my Jaron box, then it will be there. I'm going to respond before I sleep. I still have a work tomorrow. I'm I'll be 2 days out doing some preaching and teaching and handling a retreat. Anyway, thank you so much for this time. There's a message here. Okay, yeah.
Sir, I had emailed you that which from which chapter I'm going to write uh, uh, my assignment, but you haven't responded.
Yeah, that's why I'm said
Yeah.
I'm going to dismiss you. I'm going to look at it tonight before I go to bed.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Go ahead.
As you said, like we'll be preparing one sermon lab in live in our class, right? So is that
go ahead.
Is that our final work?
The final work would be two,
Okay.
right? The parable and the narrative, OT narrative. But you are only going to preach one, either
So
parable or the narrative.
you mean like the one we are doing right now, the workshops and all, right? Let's say, for example, I'm doing Exodus 14. So I'll be preparing all these things, worksheet and all, and then I'll be preparing one sample as you have given in Genesis 22, right? And the same I'll be preaching in lab. Is that right?
You can choose that one, or you can choose the parable, because we're not yet done with the parable.
Okay. So
You're
we can
going
choose.
you're going to do the same thing with parable, and then after that you're going to tell to me, I'm going to preach from the OT narrative, or I'm going to preach from NT parable.
All right. We can do any of them.
Yeah,
That's
one.
fine.
You just choose one, or you can
All
do
right.
twice.
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right. Now, during the preaching lab, not all of you will be with me. I'll be asking Vijay and whoever is capable of evaluating you for that. Okay, thank you, Milan. Okay, no more? Thank you so much. I am really enjoying our class, and I hope you're getting something from our class. And I am praying that all of us will have a better way of delivering the message.
Sir, and one last confusion, like this coming class, what all are our segments, like that work sets
Yeah, that's
and
what
sample,
Uh,
right?
if you can finish the sample, if you can finish everything, fine.
Perfect.
Fine. Because the more you are ahead, the more you're going to see better your work. Um, if you're going to say, "Oh, I'm going to do this next," so that then you will be waiting for my response. And again, sometimes I won't be able to go and reply immediately. So that would be a minus, or that would be for your disadvantage, should I say. So just finish this one. This will help you more. And you can relax if you're done with that one.
Sure, and prior the completion of my work, I'll be sending you just the sample, and please do suggest me if any correction needed over there, and then I'll submit the final one. Fine. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's be dismissed with a word of prayer. Since Milan is the one always talking, I'll ask him to close us in prayer.
All right, let's play. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for this wonderful time, this precious time, and that you have keep provided for us to hear your words. And we thank you so much, God, for your support and your technical support, the teachers, and all these things. God, do help us to use this, apply these words, so the things we have learned in our class, in our daily life, and to glorify you. We thank you, God, for being with us, with each one of us. Help each one of us to understand your things in a proper and required way. Thank you, God. As we depart from the class, Lord, help each one of us to be under your control and guidance. Help us to live under your glory and just to exalt you, not for the world, but for yourself. Thank you, Lord. And until the next class, please be with each of us and help us to walk onto your path. Thank you, Jesus. We pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.